The children felt it. We talked with them, not about everything, but honestly enough that there are people, even close ones, we must keep at a distance, that boundaries matter, that love is not about who shouts "I love you" the loudest, but who truly cares and protects. Dad and brother stayed, each in their own way. My brother came quietly, without apologies, but with actions, taking the kids to activities, helping around the house. Dad with steady silence. He just was there, and that was enough. My mother didn't write, didn't call. I didn't seek contact. Sometimes I wondered, do I regret it? And I knew no, because I gave them every chance, everything I could. They chose Vivian. I chose my children. A few months later, a notice came. Vivian was arrested again. Drunk driving, no victims this time. But the cycle repeated. Only now, not near my children, not near my home, not in my life. I sat on the porch, watching my son ride the little girl's bike. They laughed, fell, got up, everything as it should be. Life went on, not perfect, but real, without fear, without intrusions, without people who confused love with control. The trial wasn't just a procedure. It was an arena where I could finally speak out loud about everything that had been building inside me for years, where lies had to give way to facts, where, for the first time in all this time, my pain became not just an emotion, but proof. The courtroom was sterile, dull, not like in the movies, not dramatic, but I could feel the tension in the air, as if it was buzzing. Vivian sat just a meter away from me. She looked calm, even confident, as if she still believed she could rewrite everything. That the court would see her as the lost mother, the woman who made a mistake. That they would believe her just as the family had for years. Beside me was my mother. She wasn't on trial, but her presence struck harder than any argument. In her eyes, I read a plea, "Don't do this. It will destroy everything." Only she forgot. Everything was already destroyed, not by me. My lawyer started with a straightforward timeline. 3 arrests for drunk driving, the death of another child, loss of parental rights, attempts to contact us despite the restraining order, trespassing into our yard, arrest. Then the judge asked to see the photographs. And that's when something I didn't expect happened. When my mother reached into her bag for a tissue, something fell onto the table. The judge frowned and gestured for it to be shown. It was photos of my children, taken outside, through fences, in the park, at the school, all after the restraining order was issued. The silence in the room was icy. My mother went pale. Vivian looked away. The judge studied the photos for a long moment, then shifted her gaze to me. And only then did I feel truly heard. The judge decided to issue a permanent restraining order against Vivian, indefinite and not subject to review. This was rare in itself. But the real bombshell came next. Furthermore, the court finds it justified to include in the order the person who actively facilitated the violation of the temporary protection conditions, she said, pointing at my mother. "You were not merely an observer, you were a participant." My mother gasped, almost childlike. For the first time in all these years, she looked vulnerable. Not the all-powerful matriarchal figure, but simply a person who had lost in court, in life, in everything. After the hearing, I stepped into the hallway and felt, for the first time, the weight of freedom. Not joy, not euphoria, but freedom itself. Simple, quiet, like a breath of fresh air after a long suffocation. Then came the recovery. Slow, fragile. I didn't wake up the next morning happy. On the contrary, I felt empty. Not because I pitied my family, but because I had grown used to constant anxiety like a chronic pain. When it left, I was scared. She lost her child because she put her in danger, and you kept covering for her, in front of me, before the law, before my children. Her eyes brimmed with tears, but I didn't care. Something inside me snapped. Something died. From that moment, everything accelerated. Vivian began to act more aggressively, as though she sensed the control slipping and wanted to seize it back. One day I discovered she had become an authorized adult in my children's school access list. I rushed to the principal, shaking, brandishing my restraining order. She had already been there, delivered gifts. Then came letters, postcards, boxes of toys, even electronics, a tablet, new sneakers, all unsigned, but with familiar handwriting. When I opened one box and found a stuffed bear with a voice module, it said, "Aunt Vivian misses you." I collapsed to the floor and cried. From powerlessness, anger, exhaustion. I changed phone numbers. I forbade the school from accepting anything. I blocked everyone I could. But that still wasn't the end. One evening, I saw a light on my backyard. Shadows. I went out. There she was, Vivian. In one hand a camera, the other hand trembled, as though from cold. "You don't understand," she whispered. "It's all you. You took everything from me. Go away. Right now. They're mine. They're my family too. I have no one else but them." Behind me stepped my husband, his phone in hand. She bolted through the gate. The police arrived in 10 minutes. This time without softness. This was trespass. Intrusion. Onto private property. She was arrested. I stood by the door while her car was taken away. No joy. No relief. Only icy calm. I had finally acquired evidence. Real proof. Not newspaper articles. Not conjecture. Not the prosecutor's words. Photographs of my children hidden in a bag. Letters, and now her arrest. I knew that from here on, everything would be different. Ahead of me, the trial. The final battle. And perhaps the beginning of something new. The restraining order I obtained felt like a temporary refuge, a fragile armor, not protection, just a reprieve. I breathed easier, but I knew it was not over. Just a ceasefire that no one but me intended to honor. A week later, I got a call from someone whose name I didn't immediately recall, the prosecutor handling Vivian's case. His voice was dry, legally precise, but beneath it lay a kind of, not sympathy exactly, but caution. "Did you file a protection order against Vivian Blake?" "Yes, I'm her sister." "Then I must clarify some things. One of the details of the case that, as I understand, your family did not see fit to share with you." He paused. My heart pounded in my throat. "In that crash," he exhaled, "in the car was not only the little girl from the neighboring family who died, Vivian's 3-year-old daughter Lily was there too." I didn't immediately comprehend what he said. It was as if his words flew past and struck something behind me. "What?" "Lily. She was in the back in a child's safety seat. She survived without severe injuries by sheer chance. After that, she was given to her father. Vivian's parental rights were entirely revoked. It was part of the legal agreement. I didn't speak. I only listened. Silence rang between us. "We cannot comment on the personal lives of convicted individuals," he continued. "But given your motion, I determined that you had the right to know the full picture." After the call, I simply sat in the kitchen, unmoving. My body felt laden with weight. This was not merely a drunk mistake. It was a second layer, one my family, my mother, had chosen to conceal. Lily, my niece, alive, silently erased from the family narrative, as though she were a hindrance to some convenient version of events in which Vivian was the mistaken mother worthy of forgiveness. That same evening, I plunged into old electronic archives. I found it, articles, court documents. It turned out that driving under the influence, that fatal case, was not her first. The first arrest was even before Lily was born. The second when Lily was 6 months old. The third, the one that killed the other child. Mother knew. Of course she knew. She'd attended Vivian in court. She paid for lawyers. She begged father to stay silent. "Don't air our dirty laundry." I remembered how, on the day of the accident, she sat on the couch, stony still, and said just one line. "We are one family. We must stick together. Family. A refuge. A lie." I went to see her the next day. Not out of a desire for confrontation, but because I could no longer remain silent. "You knew," I said. She didn't deny it. She only lowered her gaze and remained silent for a long moment. "We just wanted her to come back," she said finally. "Everything was destroyed. She lost everything. He stopped mid-run, missed the next play, and the next. I saw something break in him. Not just shame, but fear. Confusion. Why is she here? Why is everyone pretending this is okay? We left right after the game. He didn't say a word, just took off his cap and stared at the car floor. That night, I filed for a temporary restraining order. Not out of anger, but fear. I realized she wouldn't stop, and no one else was going to stop her. Only me. I found out that Vivian got her driver's license back purely by accident. My mother mentioned it in passing, like she was talking about the weather. Can you believe it? Vivian's driving again. She's so happy. You should have seen how her eyes lit up. It sounded like congratulations, like something deserved. I just nodded and gripped my coffee mug tighter so my hands wouldn't betray the tremble. And then it began, slowly, subtly, almost innocently. First, my brother called. Come on, she's changed. It's been years. You can't hold on to the past forever. Then my father, rarely but heavily. We all make mistakes. But if we can't forgive our own, what's left of family? And finally, my mother. You know how much she loves kids. It was a tragedy, but she paid the price more than anyone. Are you really so heartless you won't give her even one more chance? They all sounded sincere, concerned. But I heard what was really being said between the lines. If you say no, you're the monster. And all I could see burned into my memory were the photos from the newspapers. The car crumpled like a toy, the blood alcohol results. And the dead child. Not mine, but no less real. This wasn't about one mistake. That wasn't her first time. It was just the first time someone died. They wanted me to let her drive my children, to hand them over, buckle their seatbelts, smile politely, pretend nothing ever happened. And maybe, for a brief second, for the sake of family peace, I wanted to believe I could. But I looked at my son and daughter, warm and breathing, and asleep in the next room, and I knew I would never allow it. Not ever. My no was calm, clear, final. And that's when the silence began, cold, sticky, suffocating, as if I'd betrayed someone. They didn't say it outright, but I became the outsider. And Vivian, she didn't lash out, didn't throw a fit. She smiled, that too wide, too fake smile. And then she started showing up. At first, it was coincidence. The same grocery store, the same park. I'd turn away, clutching my kids' hands, hurrying them along as they stumbled in confusion. Then it got closer. She'd pull up near their school, offer rides to neighbors, just on her way somewhere. Always with that same sickly sweet smile, like nothing had ever happened. I started feeling the ground slip beneath me. She was too close, and no one wanted to see it. My mother said, "You're overreacting. It's just painful for her. You avoiding her makes it worse." I said, "You weren't in the car, Mom. That's the difference. You weren't in that car." But no one listened. And then the baseball tournament. My son, so proud, jersey on, number on his back, running across the field. My parents in the bleachers. I sat on a bench, smiling, cheering him on. And then her, Vivian, holding a sign with his name on it, shouting, applauding, waving like she was his mother.